You're listening to the NCF&B podcast, part of the OG Podcast Network. The NCF&B podcast takes you behind the scenes of North Carolina's food and beverage industry. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at NCFBpod. This episode sponsored in part by Food Scene. That's foodseen.com. Providing professional photography, social media management, video production, and website design. And now, enjoy the show.
Hello, and thank you for listening to the NCF&B podcast. I am your co-host, Max Trujillo.
And I'm your co-host, Matthew Weiss. And today on the podcast, there's a saying that says, those who can't do often have to teach, but these teachers are doing. Today we have Brian Campbell and Paul Malcolm of Streamline Kitchen, and they're going to tell you their story. Welcome, gentlemen.
How are you?
Hi.
We are familiar with that phrase.
Yeah.
And that's also what we do. We have done a tremendous amount of competitive cooking, and ultimately we love teaching, but what we miss most about teaching is the hands-on cooking. It's one thing to be able to teach someone how to cook or to talk to them about the techniques and the things, but we really miss sweating and cooking and doing all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so let's set the scene here for those people who don't know you. So both of you, you are instructors, teachers, chef. What is the proper term for a chef instructor?
Well, we use the term chef instructors here at Johnson & Wales.
Okay.
Our fancy official title, Associate Professor.
Associate Professor.
I know. It's very exciting.
I do like pro cheffer, though. I think
Pro cheffer, yeah.
the sound is a little different than most people if you're listening to this right now going, why does this sound so digital and odd? Well, that's because we're actually recording this particular episode online. We are not in the same room together. Both Paul and Brian are in Charlotte right now at Johnson & Wales University. That's where they teach, and to give a little perspective. And we are in the luxury comforts of the NCF&B studios in Raleigh.
And this episode brought to you by the good people at Zoom, hopefully to be soon to be sponsors of the show.
All the conference call needs 25 cameras live streaming at one time.
Yeah.
This is not a sponsored event because of circumstance. You guys were actually slated to come on up here, but you are also the aforementioned chef instructor. What is it? Associate
Professor.
Professor, yes. And you guys have a class to teach in a little while. So we worked around it and we go from there. So again, though, perspective is you guys are at Johnson & Wales. You instruct people how to cook in a professional setting. But what's the big catch-all right now is there's Streamline Kitchen about to come online, which is a food truck, if you will. And we're going to get into all those things. But let's get back to the school and let's talk right there and kind of start. I have one particular question because I'm very curious about this. What does one, in the idea of learning from a school, as opposed to say just straight school of hard knocks as a line cook, just going into a kitchen and learning from the sous chef and the chef around you, give us a couple of ideas of why it would make most sense to go to an actual proper school and learn from there as opposed to on-the-job training?
Well, when it comes to working for someone in the industry, I mean, you can work for a great chef in the industry and you're going to learn a lot from that chef, but you're going to learn only what that chef knows. You're only going to be doing those particular dishes, working the line, and you'll learn those really well. That'll be great. But you don't really understand why that happens. They don't take the time necessarily to explain why you have to cook it this particular way to break down the connective tissues to braise that, for the finished braised product. They don't explain that.
Generally because you're really busy.
Because you're really busy, yeah. So they don't, a lot of chefs don't take the time to explain the background of why this has happened. So when you get out in the industry, all you know is that you're supposed to do it this way. You don't know why. And if people ask you why, they can't answer the question. But when you go to a formal education, not only do you get the perspective of so many different instructors, but you also learn the why, which I think is really important.
It's in a very simply way put, it's almost as if you're just putting the last few if you don't get the formal education, you're just putting the last pieces of the jigsaw puzzle together to see the end result rather than
exactly. We're kind of the sanding to the final pieces so that they fit together nice and smoothly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see, somebody that say like, they open a restaurant where it's almost like a passion project, but they're really good at making pizza, and they just learn how to make pizza when they're growing up and their dad taught them and it's something they're into, but they don't understand the whole idea of scheduling and pacing and ordering and then even the really fun part, the accounting and the and all that. So I guess we also, in that sense, is that something you learned too?
Because we're also, I graduated from New England Culinary Institute. Brian graduated from the CIA. So we bring to the table that perspective as well as industry experience. But what we try and teach in the classroom is as close to a restaurant setting as possible, but from a leadership perspective of, if something happens, how do we resolve this? And then we bring everyone in, as opposed to in a restaurant where you're so busy. It's more of don't do that, and this is why, because I said, and now we're moving on to the next thing that's coming up.
And to answer your question, yes, we talked about earlier about just working with a chef versus working with a culinary instructor in a lab. But yes, we also have a full spectrum of management classes, accounting, English. I mean, to be honest with you, writing is a real important part of this process too. I mean, you can take a business plan, putting a business plan together. This is a lot of writing. If you're looking to own your own business, it's more than just cooking.
Well, in a similar sense, I went to school for recording engineering, and one of the classes that I took so much from was recording etiquette, which was a new class they had just put in, and so we were the first kids to go through that one class. But it was funny. They're like, okay, so many young recording engineers, or they come in as interns, are just idiots. They show up late, they talk during the session, and they're like, so this is really more just a common sense class. I really did learn a lot because I was one of those idiots. And oh, yeah, I guess you're not supposed to chew gum while someone's recording a vocal track or so. But so is that even something, when you're, brigade system, you're not talking, there's no music.
Yeah, that's so what we're talking to the students about. When you go into an interview, it's about looking the part. If you walk in in torn shorts and flip-flops and a t-shirt, you might feel really comfortable and confident in your own, which is good because you're rocking that. But if you were to, say, iron your uniform and come in with a little portfolio or just a series of pictures of the work that you've done in class and be able to speak to those recipes and the techniques that you've used and why they were important to you, that would be something that would put you into a different perspective or a different position within that kitchen.
I just think it would be hilarious right now if Matt Kelly was in the room. I would love to hear his perspective on that, because he is completely the opposite.
The antithesis of Chef Matt Kelly from Durham. Yeah, he's like, but do you guys give out beanies?
Didn't you interview with him at first? And you wore a suit or proper, and he's like, didn't he tell you dude, what are you wearing?
Yeah, Matt Kelly of Matteo and all that. There was a time where I almost worked for him, and I was interviewing as a potential general manager. I got the job, by the way.
Yeah, you were hired.
But yeah, I came in a suit, proper, looking right. But he is kind of anti-establishment, if you will, and so in the best possible way. But he just looked at me like, "All right, suit."
Not to take away from your point, because I'm always an advocate of look your best and look the part, but I guess that begs the question, because sometimes chefs don't want to be the chef of a fine dining restaurant, and especially with the way the culinary culture is going, it's less and less formal. So so this is a good question, because you guys have been doing this for a long time. How have you seen that change, especially from an instructor point of view, in terms of you might dining is getting less formal. So how do you change your approach for the chefs to reach the modern day restaurant?
Well, I think actually you bring a great point that fine dining is the smallest sector in food and beverage right now. It's tiny, and we all love it. We all love doing it, but it's kind of a small sector because there's a lot of refinement. It costs a lot of money. There's a lot of pieces that are moving in that puzzle.
But professionalism is universal.
Right. Yeah,
and that's what we're really teaching is you professionally walk in a kitchen. If you're not professional, and if you're not the kind of person who can control what you say, they're not going to put you in a position of your general manager position like that, because you just set yourself up for a lawsuit. I mean, the days of Gordon Ramsay are gone.
Yeah.
They really are. And as far as
days,
for the most part. Yeah. But I mean,
people pinch people, smack them around, walk in and tell them why they should never have been born. Those were really the best good
days, man.
And that's, it refines you. It turns you into a certain kind of person. It develops a callus that you need.
It's true.
But you guys, I assume, probably grew up in that type of environment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's changed a lot now. But
speaking of that type of environment, I don't want to get too sidetracked, but Max is wearing his Raiders hat. He's a big Raiders fan. And just so we see you, Paul, does he kind of look like Mike Shanahan?
Oh, don't go there, man. I like Paul. God. Now I can never look at you the same way. We should have done this on the phone, Paul.
Because I look really big on screen.
Yeah. And now it could come almost as like Broncos orange.
Right. Yeah.
Like Shanahan if he had a full sleeve tattoo on his arm.
I know. I'm working on it. It's not quite there yet.
It's getting there.
You're getting.
Well, okay. So let's. One last question about the culinary side of things, and then we'll move on because let's talk about what we really have you guys on the phone for, or on the digital web thing for. One last thing. We like just life hacks in ways, and I know this is kind of cliche or so, but since you guys crack the books in a classroom environment with a kitchen, is there anything just for a dumb home cook like us that maybe we're missing out? Just something that would help our lives and possibly just get in a better routine of making good food just for our kids or home dining.
I think my biggest suggestion for home cooks is sharp knives. You don't need a ton of knives. You just need a paring knife and a chef's knife, and they're sharp. Take care of them. And work clean. Clean and organized is the key to really good food, I think. Yeah, there's going to be stuff kind of kicking around all over the place, but that period of time when you're in between cutting something and you wipe down your board, that's kind of your moment of clarity. So it kind of gives you an opportunity to think about what's coming next, and your food will come out much different if you're kind of thinking in that realm. The old school thinking of, well, I was very successful in the kitchen today because I have a sink filled with dirty dishes. I think the challenge of getting done and having no dishes is really rewarding, especially for my kids.
I can just see Paul is meticulous in the kitchen. You can even see how his organizer is super organized.
Yeah.
There's not even a paper.
Brian, on the other hand, has a bunch of Wendy's wrappers all around.
When it comes to vodka, it starts at the farm. Social House Vodka sources corn locally from a farmer who plants non-GMO corn. And because it's made from corn, it's also gluten-free. Social House Vodka comes from Kinston, North Carolina, and sources water from the ancient Black Creek Aquifer. Social House Vodka. Live socially, enjoy responsibly.
The one thing that a former student of yours, not yours particularly, although that'd be funny if he actually was. So I worked with Ben Harris. He worked with me at Midtown Grill, but he went for a year to Johnson & Wales in Charlotte. He went to that school. But one small thing that he showed me that is so remedial to you guys, you don't even realize that you're doing it, is to get a nice damp working rag and put it below your cutting board.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't move. You've got this great grip. And I never thought about that until I saw him do it one time. And I was like, what? Why do you always put that there? He's like, well, because now the knife doesn't, or the cutting board doesn't move, and then it also has a little bit of cushion. So you can kind of get into the cooking and your knife kind of gets in. Afterwards, I'm like, oh yeah, that's an easy.
And you're not chasing your cutting board across the table. And
yeah. All right.
It doesn't work with those really cheap, thin cutting boards that people sell now. Those are like the ones that fold up. Don't ever buy one of those.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's streamline this conversation. So you guys were teachers for a long time, and then you decided to compete in the ACF Culinary Cup.
Yes.
What happened there?
What is the ACF? What is the ACF?
The American Culinary Federation.
Okay.
So we had competed in this it was our third time competing in the competition. It was held in Orlando, Florida.
Is it always in Orlando?
It is, yeah. It historically has been. You actually have to try out for the competition, so you have to send in a package, and then you are selected from a group of people that submit a packet. We were selected. We had always talked about doing something on the side. We really had no interest in a brick and mortar because we're just not brick and mortar. We need to move around.
We also wanted the flexibility that we love our job. We want to, not teach anymore too. So we came up with something that was going to be available for the summers and weekends, and that would tie into what we're already doing. And our dancing and singing careers were over, so we thought something else would be probably a good idea.
Yeah.
So we said, if we do this competition and we win, let's take the winnings and invest it in this food truck. So that was kind of our catalyst. Like, we'd always wanted to do it. Like, all right, well, let's go into that with that frame of mind. So with any competition that we've gone into, our goal has always been to do better than we've ever done before, and to impress ourselves. And generally that translates well. And so we did the competition and we won, and we.
And now, if my research does correctly, you guys won $10 million. Is that correct?
just shy of $10 million.
Yeah. And so you put all that money into.
It would seem we put that much time into the trailer.
Yeah.
Not that much.
If we worked an hourly wage, then that would be about right.
Back to the competition for a second, because I think that our listeners and people in general these days are intrigued by food competition. So what is the guidelines for this competition, and how do you win it, and and what did you guys prepare for it?
Well, you had to use certain products. We had to use Creekstone beef. We had to use sterling salmon. So different purveyors provided different main ingredients for the competition. So we had to kind of build our menu around these main ingredients. But then the good thing was that we could really research, do a lot of R&D, and really hone what we were going to do. So
So ahead of time what the ingredients are going to be.
Yeah. So we get to build our menu around.
Yeah, Iron Chef competition.
Yeah, no Iron Chef.
No.
We weren't eating bell peppers or anything like that.
We've done those competitions. We've done mystery box competitions too. Yeah. We've done that quite a few times, and that's been a lot of fun too. But this one was a little different. And the end result, I think, and of course you have a time frame, so you have to try to maximize what you're doing on the plate in the time frame that you're given. And that's the other challenge. Having everything mise en place ready to go when you go down there to the point where you can, and then you're working every second. Every move counts because every second counts, and the food at the end has to be better than everybody else's, and that's what we were trying. And not only you're doing 3 courses, you're doing plates for judges, and that's generally where most competitions end. But this one took it to the next step, where you then produced 50 of those different courses that you did that you served to a dining room, and that was also what you were being judged on. So,
that's like real restaurant experience right there.
Yeah. And we also had the challenge of historically it had been just you could do professionals or instructors, and this one it was Brian and I, and we had a student that went with us, and she was amazing.
She was great.
Elizabeth, right?
Sorry.
Elizabeth, what's her name?
Yeah, Elizabeth. Hey, Elizabeth Katana. Yeah, she's in California now, but yeah, she is awesome. And she went to culinary school, but she did the dessert, and she rocked so she would work with our pastry chefs here. She'd come in on the weekends. She'd stay after class. She would work with the pastry chefs to refine the skills. And the pastry chefs were blown away with the work that she had done, and asked what restaurants she had worked in as a pastry chef. She's like, I'm not a pastry chef. I just did it because it was a challenge. So it was awesome. She's awesome.
Yeah, she did a great job.
So so you're cooking amongst a set of other chefs who also have to put out 3 plates for the judges, or 3 courses for the judges and 50 plates for everyone else. And then how many judges and it's all on the same night? And the judges are
it's all in a 5-hour period of time.
Well, it was over the course of 3 days, and there were different teams that went over those 3 days.
Gotcha.
And we had a 5-hour window where you go in with raw products, you cook this menu for the judges and for your dining room, and then you are also judged on leaving the kitchen as clean as it was, or cleaner than you found it. So
nice. It's a whole thing, A to Z, to how you act as a chef.
Yeah, whole salmon fabrication, whole duck fabrication, whole
beef
large
strip loin.
strip line. You had to break everything down from raw steak.
Okay.
So,
one last question about the competition, and I'm far be it from controversial, but the question has to be asked, Brian. I think you had a leg up because aren't you an ACF examiner as well?
Yeah. Well, I am an ACF judge. I am, but
you knew the score going in.
No, I know. I know what judges look for. Let's put it that way. So it helped. Definitely helped.
But I think the most exciting thing for us about the competition was we really enjoy cooking together, and it's nice to find someone that you kind of share the same mentality of cooking, and the intensity and the respect for the food was most important. And the judges, one of the coolest things was we got a perfect kitchen score, which was virtually unheard of, which means we're freaky OCD.
Yeah.
Organized.
But also, what it meant was that we worked really well together, and our thing is we're having a good time. We put all the time and effort into it. So the judges and everyone liked to hang out in our kitchen because we were just joking. We were joking around and cracking jokes and singing because we were singing and dancing. And Liz was right there with, and that's one of the things we liked best about Liz was she had really stepped through that student-instructor barrier, and we were a team, and that was one of the best parts about working with Liz.
Yeah.
That's cool. So you guys won. Do you mind telling me, maybe it wasn't $10 million, but what were the winnings?
It was good.
we never say that. Yeah.
It's a little nest egg. You got a little nest egg.
This segment is brought to you by the Triangle Wine Company. Visit Triangle Wine Company stores in Morrisville, Cary, and Southern Pines, North Carolina. Or order your wine and beer online at trianglewineco.com. And be sure to use our promo code NCFB to receive 10% off your purchases. Triangle Wine Company.
So let's talk about it. So you guys obviously are building towards opening a food truck, but I guess, and I've been following along on your Instagram at Streamline Kitchen. The process has really been the big storyline, is that you guys are building a food truck out of a Streamline. What year is it? It's a
1959
Airstream trailer.
Yeah.
Airstream.
So saying a food truck doesn't really do it justice.
Right. And so why the 1959 previously dilapidated?
As with anything, it needs to be challenging and just on the verge of kicking your ass. So we're right there, nailing it.
It's on the verge of genius and stupid.
Right. Right there.
Fine line right there.
So we wanted the food truck. We liked the idea of a food truck, but we didn't like that all the food trucks look the same. They're a square box.
Sure.
And what we've come to learn in the process of making ours is egg-shaped. It's not just a dome. It goes over and then comes back, right? So it's like the silhouette of a pear. So there's no right angles. There's nothing. Every aspect of the trailer is completely and 100% custom. So when we look at those other food trucks, we're like, pansies, you have right angles. You're quitters. But it's been we really enjoy, not only do we enjoy teaching, we enjoy learning. And we have learned a tremendous amount about metal fabrication and the results of leaks and stress tests and tension and all sorts of cool stuff.
It's unique. An Airstream trailer as a food trailer is unique. You see different types of trailer out there. They're all based off of the same square designs like Chef was talking about here. And we wanted something that was going to stand out in a crowd and not just have the wrap on the outside that has a giant quesadilla on the outside of it. We wanted something different. Yeah. We're polishing this thing up. It's going to be gorgeous. We're not going to put a lot of signage on it. We don't need to. I think it's going to attract a lot of people on its own. And anytime you see a beautiful old trailer like that, even if it's not selling food, you want to go up and look at it because it's gorgeous.
There's a guy down the street from where I live who has a Airstream, an old one. I don't know what year it is, and I always want to just stop and be like, dude, can I get a tour or something like that?
Yeah, they're beautiful, and it's a piece of art. It's a piece of pause art. But it's something. Every time we go and we put more work into it, it's really starting to come together, and I think it's exceeding our expectations. We knew it was going to be cool and different, but now we're like, wow, this is cool. This is really cool.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes in line with our food. We really enjoy cooking. We enjoy cooking together, but we also like to do things that are kind of not in the norm, a little bit kind of out of the norm.
Think outside the box, or
right.
outside the
Airstream
box. Yeah. What kind of cookware do you have in there? Like, what kind of ovens and
I was going to say,
did you put in there?
Geek out, give us some tech stuff. What kind of breakdown?
So what we did was refrigeration, because space is always an issue. And one of the things that we liked but didn't like on the other food trucks was the amount of space that you have. So in the window or the go-between, there was not a lot of space. So you're constantly bumping and grinding. And although some people enjoy that, we're not really big fans of that now at this age. Right?
Also a good friend, but not
it's a different podcast.
Also with your dancing.
Something that was a little bit bigger. So we went with a low refrigeration unit as opposed to an upright. So it has drawers on it. And then on top of that, it allows us to we have a 36-inch flat top griddle. We have a 24-inch grill. We have a fryolator, 2 burners. So if we wanted to, do whatever, we could turn it into a steam table or whatever. We have a couple custom units that, based on the space, we're going to turn them into a custom work table with a cabinet below and a mise en place, so we can put an ice well on top, so we can put our mise there and it'll drain.
We don't have a traditional oven. We're actually using a CVAP, which is almost like an ultrasham kind of concept.
Yeah.
And we will be using some thermal circulators and doing some of the higher end cut meats that way, so that they're nice and tender, seared at last second and held in those.
Flat top? You sear it out on the flat top of the last?
Yeah, flat top or grill, either way.
Yeah.
But the meat's perfectly cooked and held at the perfect temperature. So we kind of get away from the old oven. We don't need it. We have everything we need right there. And also, when you use an oven, that usually requires a longer cooking time. We design our menu around a fast 5-minute to 8-minute from order to out the door. And
one of our biggest parts of it was we both really enjoy butchery and charcuterie. So we wanted to kind of create a business that allowed us to do that.
Yeah.
So that's where the Streamline farm to trailer cuisine is. We're utilizing a lot of local producers. We're going to start out with pork, and then we'll branch into the other animals that are available to us in the area. But it's all about whole utilization. So we render the fat down, and that's what we sear the meat in, and we'll make we'll bind everything.
I was just thinking right now, using the CVAP as opposed to an oven, is that going to be more electrical then? And so maybe less use of propane? Is that possible?
Yes. I mean, we have gas grill, gas griddle, burner, but we also do have a really nice generator that runs off propane that we are going to have, that's going to be using it for the electrical, for the refrigeration, but also for the CVAP. It's going to be, and we had to get one big enough to accommodate all that.
And just last week, we pushed the button and heard it turn over for the first time. It's very exciting.
Yes.
Hey, what's the I guess philosophy concept in terms of the food, and also where are you guys going to post up, or what locations are you going to be at?
So we because we're at a food truck, we'll be working out of a commissary kitchen, which is a Carolina commercial kitchen off of Wendover in Charlotte.
Yep.
They're awesome. They have a great space and a good amount of equipment that we'll be using there. We'll be primarily in and around Charlotte City Center.
Okay.
And then we'll be posting our schedule on Instagram. We haven't done any other social media right now because I understand Instagram.
Yeah.
And that's what works for me. But it's simple. We can post a schedule for the week. The beauty of the food trailer is that it really allows us to go around and check things out. So we'll be, kind of brewery centric. We have a lot of good breweries that are opening up in Charlotte. So
it's kind of crazy the amount of breweries that are opening up. And a lot of them are not opening up with kitchens because they are relying on food trucks to come and supply that, which I think is a great idea because it changes the food on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Gives another opportunity for the businesses and attracts people for a different reason. So,
yeah. So what's the menu going to look like? I mean, I'm sure it's going to change probably seasonally, but what's going to be some staples?
So we'll have traditionally about 6 to 8 items on the menu, not very big. And everything is streamlined. So it's all about in and out. So we're going to have to utilize the trim from the pork primarily that we're doing. We're going to do corn dogs, but they're Streamline corn dogs. So you want to tell about that?
Well, we love to make our own sausage. So we'll be making like andouille sausage, bratwurst, kielbasa, and then we'll turn those into corn dogs. We'll take like a bratwurst, for example. After we cook it, we'll slice it down the center, open it up, fill it with maybe sauerkraut, Gruyere cheese, do a pumpernickel batter on the outside, and serve that with whole grain mustard. So andouille sausage with Hoppin' John on the inside, a little rice and beans, and then do a jalapeno cornbread batter on the outside. Fry that and serve that with a sauce that's appropriate. So it'll be homemade sausages filled. That'll have a batter on the outside that's unique, that kind of makes it all one meal. So that's one thing that we'll be doing.
And easy to eat when you're coming up to the trailer, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And one of our funny things that we're doing, so we'll also start stockpiling, the pork chops and things like that, and we'll run those as specials. But instead of serving it on a plate, it'll be served on a food-grade frisbee with our logo on the other side. Nice. So you'll have a little piece of butcher paper, you'll have your entree, and then you can go and advertise for us when you're throwing the frisbee.
Nice. Bringing that frisbee culture back to the college.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, if you're a brewery, nice big open space, who doesn't want like 15 or 25 frisbees being thrown around?
Yeah. So you're doing a lot. You said you're kind of pork based, right? Like that's going to be one of the primary.
Initially, yeah.
We are in North Carolina.
Yeah.
I'll give a plug for our buddy if you need some other cattle up there, Krenz Ranch, Matthew Krenz.
Oh, Matt Krenz is awesome.
Yeah. Good cattle.
Obviously, when you eat at a food truck, as Matt just mentioned too, you also want it to be accessible and easy to eat. I like the idea of the frisbee too, because you're giving someone like a hard plate.
Yeah.
Because that's always be a drag. I'm from LA and that's kind of like food truck central, but whatever you post up is fine. But then you're standing around and you're like, I can't do this. Like I got to sit down. I got to put this.
Yeah.
So it seems like you guys are thinking it out logistically, and also that's a form of hospitality when you're, taking it to the next level of how you actually eat the dishes you're making. So that's
Well, we kind of want to, when people say, what kind of food are you doing? We wanted a restaurant, but we didn't want a restaurant. So we wanted to have high quality restaurant food that we're serving out of our food truck. But we also want to think about all those things. What are you eating on? So something that is rigid enough instead of carrying around a piece of parchment paper that is dripping and all over you, or aluminum foil that you're getting in your fillings. And so we wanted it to kind of complete that. So the utensils that we'll be using, they're all compostable. We'll have some compost set up, so it's all rigid, firm, that you can actually eat on and then compost. And we'll be composting that into other stuff as well. So that's part of the farm to trailer, and then back to the farm, I guess, is the full circle part of it.
Nice. All right. I have a two-part question for this one. One, will you get a lot of free help from all the students that are working at Johnson & Wales? And then part
Good
two,
business plan.
If they're there or not, I assume that your students are probably going to be very interested on day one when you open up to see, like, all right, let's see what these guys got. So is there a little, there are a few guys in your belly produce now, and actually make like, okay, they weren't telling us how to do this whole time. Let's see what they got. How do you feel?
That's good. I mean, honestly, we're probably not going to have a lot of free help from the students. We aren't going to try to go that direction, but we are hiring a graduate to work with us. We have a lot of faculty members that are actually helping us out right out of the gate. And we may hire some students, down the road, but we're not looking for free help. We don't want to. Although it'd be very easy to
and we have our kids
look at that resource,
and they think they're coming to hang out. Like one of the first things they asked was, "Well, where's the couch?"
Yeah,
there's no couch. There's no sitting.
Yeah, that was kind of
no Wi-Fi.
We have kids that are at the age they're wanting to start working for a job, and so we wanted to bring them on and have fun and work with us. So that's part of that.
And one of the biggest things that really did it for both of us was the movie Chef.
Yeah.
Saw it, and it was a connection between a father and a son, and bringing the family together. Like it was through a food truck, so that was awesome. But
that movie doesn't get enough acclaim, aside from them just tweeting one time and having 4,000 people out front waiting. aside from that ridiculous concept.
Wait, that's not how it works? You're banking on that.
Screwed.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. But aside from that, it was a pretty legit. Even Jon Favreau like spent a lot of time. I think it was David. Not David Chang. Roy. Oh my God, from Los Angeles.
Who worked with them in the kitchen? Yeah,
A-frame and all that. Roy Choi. He just fully went in to learn how to be an actual chef, and you can see there's some legit technique being done in that movie. And it doesn't seem cheesy, but that's good. It is good though that you are having your next generation, the younger kids, to understand a little bit more that about social media and things like that. They probably will be helping you forward that aspect of your business more so than you two, old teachers.
Right. Yeah. Well, and then yes, are we always potentially interviewing students? Yeah, we're always doing that. But we also have, many friends that are in the business that say, hey, I'm looking for some help. Who would you recommend? We're not going to send them someone who would not be more than successful. But now we have a pool as well. We also, in terms of, we have a couple really close friends that are faculty members here at Johnson & Wales that have been entertaining the idea of doing an ice cream business forever. And we said, why don't you do it on the truck?
Yeah.
And we've done competitions with them, and they're awesome. So we're gonna help them launch their ice cream business on the truck, in addition to working there. And then they'll also come and work on the truck with us. So it'll be great.
Yeah. And yes, to answer your other question, I'm sure we'll have a lot of students coming by saying, "All right, what these guys got? What But I feel pretty confident that we're gonna nail it. I really do. I know that they'll be surprised that we can actually cook at the end of the day.
Well, that's the most important question to ask is, when does the Streamline Kitchen open? Do you have a date?
So our first big event is April 29th. We're actually going to be at the UNCC Science Festival. And we're actually going to be breaking down a pig and then also giving tastings of some local pig. We're going to be, in the science part of it is, we're going to be fabricating the pig and talking about the relation of musculoskeletal structure to our own anatomy and identifying the anatomy of the pig, and then tasting pig, because who doesn't like eating pig? And then we're going to do soft opening the beginning of May. And then our first big food truck event is May 25th at Sycamore Brewing.
Nice.
At Sycamore Brewing. Oh, very cool.
And it will just be on the weekends for mostly, and other special events?
Our big events at night, our dinners will be primarily brewery-driven, big functions there, but we'll be doing lunches around Charlotte, and then we'll also be available for doing like catered events and stuff like that.
But all the while, you're going to maintain a full class load?
Yeah.
Well, sure. We are fortunate. I mean, it's kind of it's really nice that we also have the same scheduled students. So summers we're off. So
Right.
So when's the pitch meeting when you go to the directors of the school and go, here's an idea for a class, guys?
We have talked about that. And
they do the lunches.
Real life experience.
Yeah. We're going to keep all the money, by the way. Oh, and you're going to pay us. Yeah. I can't wait. I hear that go over well. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. Matt, what else you got?
One technical question that you guys seem the right people to ask. I was in the market recently and for a new grill, and then you're looking and thinking about all the grills, and then I saw a flat top grill was available, and I was like, oh, maybe I should get that. I always love the food that comes off of it. So real quick, explain to me what the difference is. And I'm probably very naive about this, but just what would be the difference from just a simple hamburger on a regular grill, gas grill, versus a flat top grill?
It's the sear and the opportunity to incorporate more fat. So if you're doing it on an open fire grill, you can incorporate the fat through the ground meat part. But if you're doing it on a flat top, you could also add duck fat, you could add beef tallow, you could add lard, you could add bacon fat. So, and it kind of keeps it there. Have you heard of Culver's Butter Burger?
No.
So they cook it in butter.
What versus butter burger?
They get a good sear and they're cooking it in butter, but it's called Culver's Butter Burger.
Culver's Butter Burger.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, call it that.
Arteries just clogged up a little bit, but
actually, that reminds me. I watched Top Chef Junior with the kids. It's kind of a fun show.
Yeah.
And one kid, he blew them all away. He was making hamburgers. He's like from Texas or so, and he took a cube of butter and built the burger around the cube of butter. So from the inside, the butter was melted.
Yeah.
And chef, what's his name? Stone, I think it is, the Australian chef. He's like, "Hey, mate, did you put butter inside that patty?" He's like, "Yeah." "Where'd you ever get that idea?" He's like, "I don't know. I like butter." He's like, and I even thought, like,
Was it on a flat top?
it was on a flat top too. Yeah, so he stuck it in the middle, and it was kind of a genius idea. It was,
Yeah, just couldn't do that on a grill with grates, right?
it would just
But so then the flat top's nice, but if you were going to do a long, slow smoke of a pork shoulder or something, the flat top's not really going to be that great.
Right.
So you can always get a cast iron piece that you put on the grill, get a good bunch of coals and put it right on there on your grill, and then keep it down below. But I would go grates are better.
Yeah, it's attachments. You got to have multiple attachments.
I ended up getting a pellet smoker, but
Traeger.
it's not a Traeger. It's the same exact thing and rated better for half the price.
Oh,
Camp Chef.
Wow. Awesome.
Read the reviews. They're actually like serious blogs rank this one the tops, even above Traeger.
Nice.
Well, I implore you, Matt, to make us some barbecue soon, and then I will be the judge of that one.
I will.
That sounds good.
We get our sponsorship by Camp Chef.
All right.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. We'll let you get back. I hear the school bell ringing, so I think class session.
Thank you very much for shaking your hand. Thanks a lot.
Yes, exactly, virtually.
Well, guys, thank you so much. Good luck with Streamline Kitchen. And for all of our listeners out there in Charlotte, go find their Instagram. It's Streamline. What is the Instagram?
Streamline Kitchen.
At Streamline Kitchen.
At Streamline Kitchen.
Yeah.
Check out their schedule. Find out where they're going to be. Go there, and you will eat and drink very merrily.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Guests of the NCF&B podcast receive a swag bag, including gifts from these exceptional North Carolina producers: Social House Vodka, Hungry Harvest, Alley 26 Tonic Syrup, Michael's English Muffins, Larry's Beans and 42 in Lawrence, Ramona Wine Coolers, and Happy Hour Vitamins. Thanks for listening to the NCF&B podcast. I'm the voice, Brian Hoyle. And if you've stuck with us this long, review us on iTunes, and remember, 5 stars are encouraged. Join us next week when we chat with the founders of Social House Vodka, G. Patel, Carrie Joshi, and Mark Mullins. That's next time here on the NCF&B podcast.